Every time I tell somebody this story, they have the most horrified look on their face. And when I tell you, I have tried to record this video 10 times, and either the audio wasn't working or TikTok wouldn't keep my recording. So let's hope this one works, and I'm going to tell you what happened to me in 2022. So this happened when my son was about 5 months old. Him and I were sharing a room. Now let me say this first. He was sleeping 8 hours completely through the night. I was getting enough sleep. I was sleeping the best I've ever slept currently, and he's a toddler right now. So this is not sleep deprivation. I want to say that first and foremost. And there are other people who were involved, so let's get into it. I was about to go to sleep for the night, and I was scrolling on my phone, and I'm at my parents' house, by the way, at this point. So I roll over in my bed with my phone to face the direction of my bedroom door, which I had kept open before all of this happened. I hear somebody walking up the stairs, which I assume is my brother because he had lived there too at the time. But he stops at the top of the stairs, and he kind of just like peeks into my room just a little bit, and I know it's him because it's like his face and his height and his hair. Like, he had an afro at the time. That was the outline of my brother. And so I look at him and I'm like, what are you doing? And he doesn't answer me. He just keeps staring at me. And I say again, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you just staring at me? At this point, because it's dark, I could only see the outline of him, or it moves in front, like right center in my door, and it's just staring at me. And I look at him and I'm like, Sam, what do you need? This all happened in 0.0005 seconds, okay? So as soon as I realized that is not my brother, I sit up in bed, like jolt up in bed. And as I do that, I'm still staring directly at whatever it was. It just disintegrates like sand into the air. I don't know how else to explain it. I sound crazy, I know. Just sand, just disintegrates and disappears. I don't go to sleep that night. I'm wide awake, freaked the fuck out. But I don't say anything until the following week. So at this point, I shut my bedroom door because absolutely not. I'm about to go to bed again. I'm scrolling on my phone, and I roll over once again to face the direction of the door. This time, in the pitch black, it's the outline of my son's father. And at first, I was like, why are you just standing there? Because he was living with us at the time. And then I realized in my brain, Theo's dad didn't spend the night that night. He's not supposed to be here. And how could he get in my house at 10 o'clock at night when everybody's asleep? It's the exact same thing. I grab my phone, I turn the flashlight on, but this time I saw like this, again, 0.005 seconds, just like this super pale face, no eyes, no nose, no mouth, but like this menacing feeling attached to it. And again, just like sand, gone. So at this point, I'm not a super religious person, but I feel like I needed some Jesus Christ in this moment. So I go to my parents, I tell them what's been going on. My parents were not a believer before this story. I've always had weird things happen to me throughout my life with paranormal stuff, and they just don't believe me. But I asked my mom to get one of her close friends, a close family friend, to come pray over my room because she's done that type of work for years. She goes and prays over people's houses who have spirits attached to them. So to her, it's just to like entertain me and make me feel safer. So the family friend comes over and she's like, I'm gonna go pray over your room and see what's going on. And I was like, perf. She goes up there. She's up there for like an hour, for a very, very, very long time. But who am I to judge? I don't do seances, you know what I mean? I don't know. To sum it up with you, when she did come back downstairs, she talked to my mom for a bit and then she leaves. My mom told me that her friend told her that of all her years doing this, she's never walked into a room or a house and got instantly chills all over her body. And that's exactly what happened when she walked into my room. She said she prayed over it for that long amount of time. Whatever was there was gone. She rebuked it, I guess, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. But she said if it does come back, she like told me certain prayers to do to make it go away. My parents from that day forward are complete believers in the spiritual realm. I am as well. That was like so terrifying. I haven't seen it since. Please, Lord, that was the wrong hand, but you get it. Like, I don't want to see it ever again. But yeah, that's my terrifying story, and I don't have any explanations for it. I have so many other ones that also have witnesses to it, but this is already super long, so this is what I'm going to keep it as. But yeah, so that's my unbelievable ghost story.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I just came back from a walk, so I look horrible. I'm so sorry. But I'm from a suburb in Illinois, and my parents bought this house a couple months before I was born. And my sister, she's 3 at the time, they put her in one of the rooms. And a couple weeks into living there, she runs out of the room. She's screaming, "There's a lady in my closet." And my parents are like, you're dreaming, it's in your head, you're 3. And she said, "No, there's a lady in my closet." So they go and check, and there's nobody in the closet. But my sister refused to go into that room after that. So guess who got the bedroom? I did. So I'm now in that room, and I don't really remember my childhood until I was maybe 6. That's when I started getting memories. But one night, parents are sleeping, and I hear crashing coming from the laundry room downstairs. It was one of those bi-level homes, and my sister hears it. So we both come out of our rooms. Our parents are dead asleep, and we had those stackable, colorful containers that pull out, that were on the plastic trays. Those were being yanked out and thrown into the laundry room floor. And my sister and I were about to go downstairs to go check it out, and we had one of those big box TVs that had the speaker, one of those big ones. And this is the 90s, and we go down and we see the TV in the corner, and there's something hovering over the TV, and we're hearing crashing as this is all going on. So we were like, nope. We booked it, and I went to my sister's room because she was scared of my room, and I went to her room, and we just took cover together. We were terrified. So the years go on, and there's still some stuff going around, and my dad's in denial. He doesn't believe in any of this stuff. And my mom now that we're out of the house, she's like, "Oh yeah, definitely there's something there." But at the time, she's like, you girls are just watching too much TV. And I'm like, "Ma, I'm watching SpongeBob." So SpongeBob's not scary except for that maybe one episode with the hashling and slasher. Besides the point, as the years go on and I'm in the scary room, I woke up one night screaming because there was this man in the corner of my room with just head, shoulders, and straight down. And I'm screaming, and my parents come in. They're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, what?" My sister follows in, and she sees it, and she starts screaming. She said, "There's a man in the room." And I'm like, "There's a man in the room." My parents are like, "There's nothing here." So I refused to sleep in that room for a little bit, because there was every night there was head, shoulders, straight down. That's it. Darker than dark. And that's when I started sleeping with a nightlight. And I slept with a nightlight until 3 years ago because this shit scared me so bad. So now it's junior high, and I'm starting to make friends, and there's this one girl that I invite over for a sleepover. And I haven't told anybody anything that's been going on in the house because I don't want people to think I'm crazy. So I invite her over, and I'm like, "You know what? You could change in my room. I'll change into my pajamas in the bathroom, and then we'll, come back and do sleepover stuff." And not even 2 seconds of me being in the bathroom, she's banging on the door. And I open the door. She has no pants on. She's crying and shaking. She said, "There's a man in your room, and I want to go home." And so then I'm looking at her like, "Oh my God, you're seeing it too." So my mom comes up because she hears my friend freaking out, and she asks what's going on. She's like, "There's a man in her room. I want to go home." And my mom's like, "Well, it's 11:30 at night. We can't really bring you home right now. Let's just sleep downstairs." So I'm like, okay, now I know I'm not crazy. Me and my sister are not crazy if we're all seeing the same thing. So things just start getting weirder throughout the house. My dad even said that he's felt like there was somebody sitting on the edge of the couch with him. Your hair just sticks up in this house. You hear voices, you hear whispering, things are constantly getting knocked off of shelves in the middle of the night. Our fridge would open and close. Just so many weird occurrences to the point where my mom, we had I'm not Catholic, so is it a deacon? We had somebody from a Catholic church that worked at the Catholic church, our neighbor. He came over and he blessed the house because it was getting that bad. And that didn't work. We think it made it worse. And also, when this is all going on, the show Ghost Hunters on Sci-Fi is getting really popular. So my sister's friend ends up buying, Ghost Hunters had like this like ghost hunting kit. So she bought one just for her, and she's like, we know your house has some weird shit going on. Let's have like an investigation. And my dad traveled a lot when I was younger. So there was no men in the house. It was just my mom, me, my sister's friend, and my sister. And she brings over all the equipment, and we're like getting all hyped up. We're like, we're gonna catch something. We're gonna catch something. And my mom, I remember she's standing on the stairs. It's like one of those bi-level houses, So she's standing on the stairs, and us being Midwesterns, we had a plastic bag full of plastic bags hanging on the banister. And I remember she's like, you girls better not be loud. I don't want to hear you guys screaming because you're freaking yourselves out. Whatever you do, just be chill about it. And after she stops saying that, the bag on the banister starts violently swinging. My mom looks at it and goes, I'm going to bed. So then she goes up and we start our investigation. My room always had the most activity, of course. So we set up the EVP recorder in there, and there was like that thermal temperature. My room was like 35 degrees colder than the rest of the house. And so we set it up, and we went downstairs, and we just hung out downstairs. And we let that thing go for, I think it was like 7 hours of recording. So then the next day, my sister's friend went home, and she's listening through the entire tape. And later on that night, she's like, you gotta hear this. So she comes over and she plays the recording. And on the recording, there is a man. It's like a weird, like, I can't even recreate it, but it's like this weird, like, grumbling, like, growling almost. And on the recording, it said, I did it. I killed her. So we're like, okay, what the fuck? So we're going crazy, and we start talking more about it to our family. And my uncle goes, oh, well, your neighborhood used to be called West Haven, and this girl I actually knew was murdered there. It's a very horrific story, so I won't get into it. So we're like, there's no way. So we went to the library, and we looked up the archives. Sure enough, there was a girl that was unalived on our property. So we start piecing together. We don't even know if this is like legit or not, but we're thinking that the lady in the closet was the teenager that unfortunately lost her life. And to my sister being 3 years old, that's a lady, but it's a teenager. But we think the woman in the closet, it was her. And we think the guy that we've been seeing in the corner was the killer. So that's just our little own speculation of that. But after living with the evidence and the information that we gathered, we were freaked out, but we just kind of made peace with it. We'd be downstairs middle of the summer, late at night, and we would hear like somebody coming down the stairs. We thought it was our dad because we woke him up, and no one ever came down. My grandmother ended up being in hospice at our house, and that's when the activity really upticked. I remember standing in my room looking at a necklace that my grandma just gave me, and I saw from here down run to my parents' bedroom, but no one was upstairs. So we sold the house about 11 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, and we moved to Michigan, and I still go home from time to time, and I go drive past our old house because we were there for 18 years. We're still very much connected to it. And one of the last times I drove past it, I saw somebody peeking out the window like that. So yeah, that's my story. That was my entire childhood. And now I deal with some paranormal stuff, but not as much as I did back in Illinois. So there's that.
All right, y'all, this one's a crazy one. Buckle up. Okay, so I grew up in a very, very haunted house when I was in my teenager years. And maybe it was haunted in hindsight, maybe it was a poltergeist, I don't know, but there was a lot of paranormal activity kicking up in my house when I was in my teens. And these are some of the craziest things that happened. So first and foremost, so at this particular point, it was the year 2000, and I only remember this because in 2000 I turned 16 and got my driver's license. And at this particular point, I was working as a cashier at the local Food Lion, and I had just gotten out of the shower. I was wrapped in a robe, and I was walking to my bedroom that was at the back of the house to get changed out in my uniform to go to work. And when I got into my room, I heard, our house was carpeted at that particular point. And when I got into my room, I heard, the only way that I can describe it is it sounded like someone dragging themselves along the carpet. And this was coming from the other side of my bed. My brother was going through this phase where he liked to like crawl on the carpet like a dude in the army, right? So I immediately thought it was him, and I was like, Andrew, get up, I gotta get to work. I don't have time for this. I see my bed skirt blow up on the other side of my bed, and I hear my brother laugh. And so now I'm pissed. I'm like, okay, Andrew, get up. Sending me like into fight or flight. I tell my brother, like, get up, I don't have time for this. And I hear him laughing again, and still that same dragging noise on the carpet coming from now underneath my bed. So I'm pissed. I get down on the ground, throw up the bed skirt, and as you might have guessed it, my brother wasn't there. Nothing was under there. So I take off through the house looking for my brother, and this was during the days of dial-up modems. So I suddenly hear the modem dialing up on the other side of the house, and my brother is at the computer. So I'm freaked. I get my clothes on, I go grab my mom, and I tell her what happened. And during this particular time, my brother was considerably younger than I was, and she was like, look, just don't tell Andrew, it's gonna freak him out, he won't sleep. Fine, don't tell Andrew. I was fine with that. Couple of weeks to months go by. I would say it was probably like a month or two. The house is quiet, it's nighttime, we've all gotten into bed, and I shut my door, got into my bed, and no sooner had my head hit the pillow, this sound was right next to my ear. This was what it was. I mean, the second my head hit the pillow, that sound was right there in my ear. When my eyes opened, that sound got quieter, or more quiet. When I sat up, the sound got even more quiet. When I turned on my lamp, the sound stopped. I fully expected when I threw my bedroom door open that I was gonna find one of my parents like looking at the back of their throat in the mirror that was in the hallway, because that's what it sounded like, somebody saying to one of my parents basically, hey, open your mouth, let me look at the back of your throat. So that's what I expected to see, and it was loud. Like everybody in the house should have heard it loud. I opened my bedroom door and there is nobody in the hallway, nothing. And granted, that noise wasn't coming from the hallway. It was coming from next to me, but in my brain in that moment, that was the only way I could rationalize it. Cut to several weeks later, my brother wakes up in the middle of the night, hysterically screaming. So my mom and I go running in there, and we find my brother in the bed, hysterically crying, and he says, Mom, I woke up in the middle of the night. This is also sending me into fight or flight. I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard a dragging noise on the carpet. So I turned over and looked, and Mommy, you were standing in the doorway, but you had no eyes. Was it a mimic? Was it a psychic manifestation? I have no idea, but whatever it was liked to drag itself along the carpet in that house. I have to believe that there was something of a lower vibration in that house feeding on the chaos that was going on in there. That's just one of my stories. Shout out in the comments if you want to hear more. Love y'all.
When I was 16, 17 years old, my bedroom was the attic of my parents' house. One night, I proceed to have one of the most real-feeling dreams I've ever had. In the dream, I'm sleeping in my bed. I wake up in the dream to an older woman standing in the corner of my bedroom. I do not know this woman, never seen this woman. She actually looked quite ghost-like, a little translucent. You could see through her a bit. Like, she looked like a ghost. She proceeds to ask me, I have a son. He needs someone to play with. Would you mind playing with him? Not sure why I chose to say yes, but I did. And I was like, yeah, I'll totally play with your son. That seems totally normal. Like, we're in a dream, so, like, fine, I'll play with your son. As soon as I say, yeah, I'll play with your son, he appears, like, If I'm laying in my bed, like she's on this side, he appears on this side of the room, like right where the stairs are, the top of the steps. And he starts to walk over to my bedroom, to my bed, comes to my bed, and he's like, "Let's play arm wrestling." So I'm like, "Yeah, no problem. Let's play arm wrestling." So I put my hand up like this. He puts his hand in my hand, and we are arm wrestling. At first, it's like a good give and go. We're like, "Oh yeah," and then like he pins my hand completely down. I feel his hand, hold on. I feel his hand around my hand, ice cold. He pins my hand down and is staring at me. And I'm like, okay, like let's play again. And he goes, "I don't think you want to play this game with me." Just like that, like dead stare. "I don't think you want to play this game with me." So I'm like, what does that mean? Let's play, like, okay, let's play the game. So he goes, "No problem." Digs his nails into my hand like that and starts pinning my hand to the bed, yelling, "I win, I 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 win." I rip my hand away from his. I feel the scratch marks on my, like right here. And then he takes a step back with this like grin on his face and he becomes this like black cloud of smoke. And I know that sounds unreal, but just stay with me. So he's this big cloud of smoke. This is all still in the dream. I get up, I'm screaming, I jump out of my bed. Here's where it gets crazy. I jump out of my bed in the dream and I wake up in real life and I am fully standing on my feet. So as I'm standing on my feet, I'm like, what the fuck just happened? I'm down the stairs, out the room, right? And so my mom and my sister are downstairs in the kitchen cooking breakfast. My mom is a very spiritual person, so I have no problem just being like, "Yo, this is what just happened." Um, and it's like, disregard the dream if you want, but I was fully standing when I woke up. Insane. And so typically, not saying typically like this happens all the time to me, but like my mom has we regularly would have priests come over, bless the house, things like that. So like that's not weird. So like my mom putting holy water around, throwing holy water around the house is not like an odd thing in my household. So like I'm expecting her to be like, "Okay, let me go get the holy water. I'll spray your room down." Like not a big deal. She goes, "The holy water is right there. You're gonna go get it and go upstairs and throw it around your room with some salt." I'm like, "Why are you not doing it?" She's like, "I think you should do it." And I'm like, "Okay, this is insane." So I take the salt, I take the holy water, I go upstairs. My sister's like, "I'll come with you, but I'm staying at the bottom of the stairs." Everybody's acting scared. And so I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. This is something. So I have the holy water, I have the salt, I go upstairs. I have the holy water in like a little cup and I have the salt. I go upstairs and so I'm like throwing the holy water around, just a little flap, flap, flap around. And I have the salt and I throw it onto my bed and it sizzles. Bitch. I never ran down a flight of stairs faster in my life. I don't even think I touched one step. I jumped from the top 11 steps down, bow, hit it. I was downstairs the next flight, bow, hit it. I didn't stop for shit. I said the only way I'm going back up there is if y'all bring a priest to hose this house down with a fire truck of holy water. I'm not playing at all with y'all. And so my mama got the priest to come and he blessed the whole house, top to bottom. He didn't miss no floor, no nook, no cranny. And I never had an experience like that again. So I don't know where that little boy is at, but I hope his soul is at rest because he